Good morning. Oh, you can see the reflection. Let me go get my thing. Good morning. Hey, boo. Hey. I miss you. Let me see. I'm trying to get my lighting set up, y'all. Give me just 1 second. Sorry. This rain had me a little messed up this morning. Took a little extra sleep time. Hold on. I'm almost ready. Sorry. Move this up some. Hola. Okay. Give me 1 second. Is this going to be enough light or not? I hope so. Can you see me? It's not the greatest. Let me do this. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I hope you can see me enough. I have a little... Let's see, can I bring this down? I have a little bit of a bootleg light here, but I just wanted to come on to talk about part 3 of the Clean Heart series that we've been discussing here. I don't know if anyone that's in the room right now has been here for the last 2 mornings, but we've been talking about different ways and strategies that we can begin to release pain, because pain is something that continues to manifest itself over and over again when it's not released. And really, pain is energy. Any energy manifests itself over and over again. So today is really meant to be a Q&A session. So if anyone has any questions, I will definitely answer them and try and give some of my expertise and insight. I realized, I think really more so at the beginning of starting this business, that helping people to navigate pain and painful dynamics is something that I have been doing pretty much my entire life. And my business now gives me kind of a space to do that in a professional way. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist, although I have been asked by psychologists and psychiatrists if I am one, because of our interaction, which is hilarious. I was actually at my gym a couple weeks ago, and there was a woman who was kind of going through some negative self-talk out loud, and I kind of talked her down and out of it, and she was like, "Are you a psychologist?" And I was like, "No." She was like, "Oh, because I am." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well." Not officially. So, a little bit of my background. My name is Megan. I am the owner and founder, CEO of Yes God Wellness, which is a holistic health company dedicated to helping people connect more deeply with themselves through a variety of different tools. And what else was I going to say? Oh, I'm from Rochester, New York, and I have 4 children, 1 grandchild, and I was born to, my mother is hearing impaired, so very early on in my life, I assumed an advocate role for basically underdogs. You know, my mother definitely faced a lot of discrimination in her life because of her handicap, even though I hate that word. But, you know, I had to be her eyes and ears, and I think that really helped me being able to just navigate micro expressions, which later turned into navigating actual emotions. And my own self, I've had a lot of different experiences in my life. I shared a couple days ago how I have lost people tragically in my life. And I have just been through a variety of different situations that I feel like I've been able to navigate in a healthy way. And I definitely didn't go into those situations being able to navigate in a healthy way, but I'm at a point in my life now where I'm dedicated to doing that. So it really gives me a lot of fulfillment to be able to help other people to navigate. So just to quickly recap some of the things that we talked about in the last couple of days, we talked about really identifying pain, excuse me, at its most vulnerable expression. So I posted a meme, I think yesterday, that talked about, you know, I sat down with my anger long enough until she told me her name was grief. And so I think a lot of times with pain, we attach pain to other people's behaviors. You know, this person, I'm sad because this happened, or I'm hurt, I'm in pain because this happened. But I think one of the real key parts in being able to really process pain in a healthy way is to bring it back internally and talk about the actual, true, real, vulnerable feelings that we're having versus making the immediate correlation with something external that happened to us. So, you know, for example, I'm in pain because, you know, he didn't whatever, or she didn't whatever. When, you know, I think going in and looking at that honestly, that statement would be, well, I felt rejected. I felt like I wasn't worthy. Yes. And so that's what we talked about the last couple of days as well, attaching pain to the action of others and also taking the actions of others personally, because we can only give what we have available. Okay. And other people can only give you what they have available. So if other people have not dealt with their pain and their trauma, unfortunately, that is probably the majority of what they have available to offer you. If other people have not dealt with their own communication issues and their own reconciliation of, you know, we're human beings, we're complicated, we all have stuff. We all have things that have happened to us, experiences that we've had. And that's why I think it's so important to be able to have a clean heart and to be able to release a lot of these things, because until we do, guess what? We're also causing other people pain in our relationship dynamics with them, even inadvertently. You know, and so that's where really getting into being compassionate and being forgiving is really, really crucial. And the key is that we have to be compassionate and forgiving first with ourselves. I know when we talk about pain, you know, initially we usually think of a situation or a dynamic that involves another person, which is fine. That's normal. However, what I'm suggesting is that we take it a step further and look within ourselves to see, you know, where am I having a particular issue? So, for example, and I've talked about this before in previous videos, being able to attract only what we are. So for me, I'll just keep it at myself. I have realized, and I'm still working through and still processing some communication issues for me. And it may sound weird because I'm a very kind of outspoken, seemingly direct person, right? But when I'm in a situation where I feel vulnerable or I feel hurt, it is difficult for me to express that. It's very hard for me to express that directly. I kind of I've just being honest with myself. I have challenges with really talking about that. My response to that is just to kind of shut down and to really just put distance between myself and the person. And vulnerability is difficult because it's like we want to. We don't want to be hurt again. If we're already vulnerable and then we share that vulnerability with someone and they don't validate it or they don't put a priority on it or pay attention to it even, then we feel even more, it's like a compound effect. Like, okay, well, I was vulnerable, I expressed myself, I communicated, and I still didn't get the response that I wanted. So what we talked about yesterday was really learning and cultivating different ways that we can give ourselves what we're looking for from other people. And some of the ways that we can do that are by not putting so much stock in other people. And there's a lot of different ways that we do that, intentionally, unintentionally. Social media, is a wonderful tool for a lot of things, but it's also, I think, a place where a lot of things can start to become comparison, and we start to compare ourselves to people, and we start to feel bad about ourselves, and we start to feel like, wow, these people have it all together. I don't have it all together, and then we start feeling bad about ourselves. And so some of the things that I talked about were, not jumping on social media first thing in the morning, not staying on social media. Sorry, I had a phone call come in. Not staying on social media until we go to bed, because when we're sleeping at the time, in the morning and right before we're going to sleep, when we first wake up and right before we're going to go to bed are very fragile times in terms of what's happening in our subconscious. Like, I literally, not following my own advice, was looked at social media kind of right before I went to bed. I did meditate before I went to bed, but really my goal is to not be on social media like an hour or two before I go to bed and really give myself a space and a break. And I had a whole dream about Cardi B. Good morning. I had a whole dream about Cardi B. I was in her house. I was helping her with culture. I was cleaning up. I don't know Cardi B. I've never met Cardi B. However, I saw her last night and I love Cardi B. I'm a Cardi B fan. But this was it was a very detailed dream too, which I need to write that down because I need to be consistent about recording my dreams, because your dreams are different ways that your subconscious is communicating with you. A lot of people, myself included, have a tendency, I think sometimes, or had a tendency to write off dreams like, oh, that was weird, and then that's it. But sometimes it takes a little bit more of a deeper look at, the metaphors and the different things that are involved in that. I'm gonna let my confidence come in and say, well, yeah, Cardi B, you're famous. You're gonna be famous and wealthy. Like, of course, Cardi B. But no, but just to show you how powerful it is, show you how powerful it is, the things that we consume and the things that we take in before bed. And so one of the other things that we discussed was being able to pour into ourselves and fill our love tanks up and validate our own selves so that we're not looking for other people to do that for us. And when other people do have behaviors or words or actions that, don't necessarily make us feel the best, we are able to basically, kind of shield that off because we've already poured into ourselves. And so one of the things that I've been doing is mirror work and really looking into the mirror directly in my eyes and saying, Megan, you know what? You're an amazing person. I'm really, really proud of you. Because most times we have negative self-talk. We're talking to ourselves like crap the whole day. We're worried, we're scared, we're talking down to ourselves, and that's not filling your love tank. That's not keeping yourself, I wrote a letter on Instagram, I think a couple days ago, and it was, I kind of that was another example of that, of really taking time, because if we think about it, we speak to other people in a very loving way most times. You know, hey girl, I love you, I miss you, I appreciate you. At least that's how I speak to my friends. You know, if you're not talking to your friends like that, then, you know, that's a whole nother issue you probably need to look at, you know, again, internally. It's all the same root. It's all the same root of, you know, really attracting who you are. You know, there were people and friendships that I've had along my life, and these people were not nice people. You know, they were assholes. And I had to really be honest with myself and say, damn, I was an asshole too. That's why we were friends. We had something in common. You know what I'm saying? So being willing to be honest with yourself, being willing to look at the relationship dynamics that you're in, and really take accountability for that. You know, if you're with someone who is, you feel like is not treating you well, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a business relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship, you know, you have to ask yourself, am I treating myself well? Because if I was treating myself well, then I would never allow this, you know. And I like to put it in context of, you know, we should be speaking to ourselves the way that we would speak to a 2-year-old child. How do we speak to children? We speak to them, we encourage them, we're proud of them, you know, we are motivated by them, we are inspired by them. You know, they can't really do a lot wrong. Why? Because they're children. And we need to be able to have that same compassion and that same forgiveness and that same love for ourselves and that same nurturing, and being able to say, you know what? You shouldn't do that, but it's okay. We're going to try again next time. You know what I'm saying? Instead of, oh my God, you're so fucking stupid. I can't believe you did this shit again. You know, really think about it. Really be mindful and aware of the thoughts that are going through your mind. And meditation is this is the reason why people are so big on meditating. And I know it's a cliche thing, and it's a, you know, it's a thing that is like, oh yeah, meditate, oh, I don't want to sit still because then, you know, my mind goes everywhere. Exactly, that's the whole point. You need to be examining that. You need to be looking at that. Where is your mind going? What is your mind telling you? And what's really helpful is to be able to become the observer. Because a lot of times what happens with us is we start to respond and react to the things that our mind is telling us. You know, we actually will say something negative and then we'll feel bad. You know, so we're actually taking what our self-talk is as law. And that's a dangerous game, because that is completely not true. You know, most things that are going through our minds are things that are programmed. They're things from childhood. They're things that we've heard from other people along the way. It's not really actually what we desire or intend to be thinking or perceiving. I'm going to get a sip of water. So being able to become the observer. I get when I meditate and fast is amazing, so helpful to do consistent. Yes. Meditation is one of those things, just like anything else, just like exercising, just like eating clean, just like, you know, going for a walk every day. Small incremental consistencies are going to give you long-lasting overall results. One day you're going to wake up and you're going to look totally different. You're going to feel totally different. That's the same with meditation. You know, when you're taking the time to really pour into yourself, first thing in the morning. Good morning, Fountain Honey. I'm glad you clicked in my life too. Yes, God. When you're taking the time to pour into yourself first thing in the morning, and not just first thing into the morning, all day long, checking in with yourself. You know, I do it. And honestly, when I first started doing mirror work, you know, I started crying because it's emotional. And plus I'm on my cycle right now. So even now, just saying it, I'm getting emotional, just because this is what happens. Like, we have hormones, you know, we're extra, you know, feely, which is okay. You know, emotions are very powerful. And that's why I think it is so important to be able to manage and utilize our emotions, because they are powerful. They rule our entire life. Think about it. Emotions rule our entire life. Emotions are energy. That's the internal energy. We have energy inside, and then we also, everything is made of energy. Yes. Okay. So elaborating on mirror work. So mirror work is basically And the reason, and I'll just give you a quick background on why I started talking about that, because I know that you just joined. I was talking about, us having a tendency to allow ourselves to feel bad or feel negative or feel sad or feel pain based on what other people do or don't do, say or don't say, and things like that. And a way that we can put ourselves in a position to not be as affected by those things is to pour into ourselves and give ourselves the things that we're looking for other people to say. And so, or say or do, or make us feel, basically making other people responsible for our emotional state. And a way that we can move away from making other people responsible for our emotional state and taking accountability and responsibility ourselves is to start giving ourselves the things that we're looking for from other people. So a way to do that is, one is meditation, and then another way is doing mirror work. So mirror work is really getting comfortable being intimate with yourself. So you're looking in the mirror, you are talking to yourself, and you're going to speak to yourself the way that you would speak to a 2-year-old child. This is my own kind of framework that I use because it works for me. Or for me, speaking to myself the way that I would speak to one of my friends, because I'm very nurturing, I'm very giving, I'm very loving towards a lot of people outside of myself. But then when I observe my self-talk, I'm not so kind and I'm not so loving and I'm not so nurturing to myself all the time. I sometimes can be judgmental, I can be critical, I can beat my own self up. So really making the space and time to pour into myself the same way that I pour into other people. So for example, Megan, I'm so proud of you. Even though you didn't get up at 5 a.m. like you planned to, you know what? I'm so grateful that you allowed yourself to rest today. You needed that. Sometimes it's okay to be gentle with yourself. I appreciate you so much for having good intentions. You're going to have an amazing day today. You're such a wonderful person. You're so strong. You help so many people. And just really list off and start giving yourself praise. Start validating ourselves, start complimenting ourselves, start acknowledging the things that we're doing right and the things that we are, the things that are positive about ourselves. Because what happens is we get so caught up in, dwelling on the things that are not right. And, oh, I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be there. I haven't done this yet. Oh my God, I'm however many years old and I don't have a baby yet. I haven't been married. I'm not here. We have all these kind of expectations that really, and then what happens because of that negative self-talk is we wind up feeling like shit. And when we feel like shit, we attract shit, and we attract people who make us feel like shit. I must start that today. Very important and harsh. Yes, exactly. And it is very important. And, for me, I like to, I like to do it in the mirror. And then I also want to start writing it as well. The same way I did on Instagram and said, hey, Megan, I'm really proud of you. You're really special to me. I'm so grateful that you've designed a life that you've been able to help other people now. And, even right now, and I'll give you an example, and this is just the way I look at the world. I just had a couple sales come through. And from my perspective, I feel like the energy that I'm sharing right now, being vulnerable, being open, being transparent, that's being returned to me now in tangible ways. That's just how I look at it. And I think it's worthwhile to start to look at these correlations in our life of, when I am receiving things and I'm in a receiving mode, what am I giving? Because there's always a correlation. We're always going to get what we give. And the key is that the first person that we need to be giving to is our own selves, because we cannot give to other people what we don't have. Why do we have such unreasonable high expectations of ourselves? Sometimes it's hard to give yourself that breathing room because, it's programming. We learned it from our parents. We learned it from the people who raised us. We learned it from our environment. We learn it from TV. We learn it from, cultural, social norms. Unfortunately, this is the world that we live in. So that's why it's extra, extra important to carve this space out for ourselves, because we have to understand that this has been however old you are, that's how many years of programming that you're working. So I'm not saying that you look in the mirror one time and your whole life is going to be different and you're not going to talk to yourself negatively anymore. I'm saying being consistent, taking incremental steps, really being dedicated and consistent, just like you would be to a workout program, just like you would be to a diet or a lifestyle change. It's the same thing. It's step by step, and you have to stick with it. You have to be committed to it. You're so welcome. Thank you, Miss Hair Diva. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't feel like coming on today. I was like, you know what? I overslept, and I started to do it this morning. I was like, overslept. Oh my God, you didn't do your meditation yet. Now I did do a meditation before I slept, but I was just beating myself up. I was, oh my God, I don't feel like doing it. I'm not going to do it. Nobody even cares anyways. Nobody's getting on. Like, nobody's waiting for this. And, those are the kind of things that we have to be mindful and observe. And we have to be able to not just be the experiencer. Because most times we are in a default program of whatever I think is just the truth. And that's just how I'm going to live my life. We have to be mindful and aware enough to say, you know what, that's a thought. It's not true. I'm going to choose again. I'm going to dictate what my life is going to look like. I'm going to dictate how I'm going to feel. I'm not going to allow my mind to control and make me feel like shit just to keep me safe, because you have to, from an evolutionary standpoint, our mind was designed to protect us. And so our mind is still operating from back when our ancestors had to be fearful of a bear coming out of the woodwork. You know what I'm saying? For real. And so that's what our mind is still kind of operating under that premise of, oh my God, something, I'm in danger. I'm fearful because something, can hurt me. That's the way that our minds are primarily designed to operate. And again, based on the programming, based on our environment, based on things that we've experienced, even our past experiences, they say the mind and the heart are two different things. The mind and the heart are two different things, but they work like this. They're like this. These I have two different hands, but I would say the mind and the heart are always like this. Think about when I'm exercising, when I'm working out, and my heart rate is going up, right? Here's my heart, here's my mind. My heart rate's going up. My mind is like, you can do it, you can do it. Stick to it, stay with it, you can do it. They're interchangeable. And they also say that your heart has its own brain as well. I don't know if that's the central nervous system. I don't know the validity of that. But I would say that the mind and the heart work like this. So that's why when your mind has thoughts and things, your heart, we feel immediately. There is a immediate correlation between what we think and how we feel. Thank you so much. I have honey butter on. I know I'm looking like real shiny. But yeah, so having, those things are very closely related and very closely, they have a very close-knit relationship, which is again why it's so important to be sure that we are doing things intentionally to keep our mind in a place where we want it to be. And that's also why it's so important for me, and I'll show you, I'll give you an example. This is what I do in the morning, every morning. This is my journal, okay? And I'll show, and this is something that you can use for your own journal prompts, because some people are like, okay, I'm a journal, what am I journal about? Like, I don't know. The first thing that I do is I talk about my blessings. I am so blessed. And I talk about all the things that I have to be grateful for. Then I talk about what I'm feeling. This morning, I have, I'm feeling okay, but I'm feeling, and this is a time to be honest. This is not a time to be like, oh, I'm feeling amazing, I'm going to have a wonderful day. There's a time for that in this journaling, but not right now. Feeling is really just acknowledging and giving yourself the space and honoring your current emotional state, your current energetic state. So, this is how I'm feeling. I know things are going to be, I know I'm going to have a good day, but right now I'm not feeling that good. I'm feeling, depressed a little bit. I'm feeling kind of sad because such and such, I'm feeling this and I'm feeling that. Okay. So give yourself a space to talk about how you're feeling. And then I have a space called expecting. And you know what? I'll just read you what this is. This is from the 9th of January. I'm expecting my thoughts, words, and actions to be incredibly fruitful, and I'm expecting oh my God, I can't even read my own writing. I'm expecting to have amazing communication with my clients, and I'm expecting to have a consistent influx of currency. I expecting to tap into my divine creativity. And so this is a place where we can start to say, you know what? Okay, I gave myself a chance to talk about what I'm feeling, but now I want to talk about what I'm expecting from this day. I want to talk about the fact that I'm expecting my day to turn around. I'm expecting to feel good today. I'm expecting to feel loved today. I'm expecting to feel motivated today. I'm expecting to feel at peace today. But I was feeling a little down for the last 3 days, but a week ago I was feeling empowered. And that's okay. And that's the thing. Feelings fluctuate. Emotions fluctuate. That's why it's so important to have these rituals and to have these habits and to be consistent with them. Because, we are really in control. I don't think we as human beings realize how much control we have over how we feel and the things that we manifest and attract into our lives. Thank you, Found Honey. Expecting. So, and then the last one is projecting. Did I write it on? Oh, I did. I said I'm projecting, but I usually put a little title like projecting. So I'm projecting that I'm a multimillionaire. So this is where you really get into just let your imagination run free. I'm a millionaire. I am a philanthropist. I donate millions of dollars to charity. I am helping to bring water wells to the countries that need it. I impact everyone I touch. And just really allow yourself to start to conceive about what it is that you want to be. Because so many times I think we get into a space of, getting caught up with what the circumstances are right now. And you know what the thing about it is? The circumstances that are right now are actually a manifestation from the past. So just like this person said, I'm feeling a little down for the past 3 days, but a week ago I was feeling empowered. Okay, so the past 3 days have manifested from your thoughts. So if you begin to start to change your thoughts and start to identify and acknowledge and even give yourself the time and give the focus and attention to what it is that you're projecting, I'm feeling, so for example, for you, it would be, I'm feeling down right now, but you know what? I know that I have the power to turn this around. I know that my mind is powerful. I know that the universe is capable of miracles. I know that God has always had my back. I know that things can change in one split second. I know that I can get a call. I can meet a person at the store. I can receive a DM that can change my life, and really start to dwell on and think about the infinite possibilities that are available. Expectations is the new milestone in my spiritual journey. I'm glad you brought that up. Boundaries are automatically set when you get clear. But yes, God. Exactly. Boundaries are automatically set when you get clear about your expectations. And that's what this is. This journaling that I do every morning is really about clarity. This is about, I'm checking in with myself. I'm seeing how I feel, because these are the things that we want from other people, right? We want other people to care about our feelings. We want other people to check in on us. We want other people to care about us. And in order to be able to attract other people that do that for us, we have to first do that for ourselves. We have to first put the time in and put the dedication in to do that for ourselves. Because if we're not doing that for ourselves, we're not going to attract other people who are doing that for us. We're going to attract other people that feel bad about themselves, just like we're feeling bad about ourselves. And they're not going to make us feel good. How do I properly release childhood traumas and abandon that continue to spill over in my current relationships through my thoughts and actions? That's a wonderful question. So I think I'm going to answer that in 1 second, Miss Bolden. So I think I'm seeing now, listening to you, we have to change our whole being. Yes, and it's possible, and we can change it. It's very possible. The thing is, we're creating and manifesting whether we're aware of it or not. Whether we're aware of it or not, it's happening. So because now that we're starting to get information and know that it's happening, now we can start to use different tools and strategies to start changing and believing and thinking about who we want to be. And that's a perfect word. We're being. We are beings, and we are choosing who we are being. If we're going to be someone who wakes up and just allows the internet and our relationships and external and internal negative self-talk to create who it is that we are, then that's who we're going to be. But if we wake up and say, you know what, I'm going to be this person today. I'm going to be someone who has follow through. I'm going to be someone who's focused and consistent. I'm going to be someone who loves myself enough that when other people don't treat me kindly, it doesn't affect me. Or I love myself enough to remove myself from dynamics and situations that don't make me feel good. Changing who we are changes us into who we want to be, the new me, the better me. That's the power of thoughts. Yes, God, exactly. And give yourself a space. It's not just about oh, I'm going to meditate, or, oh, I'm going to do mirror work, or, oh, I'm going to do this. It's all of these things are, it's like a package deal, so don't rob yourself of any specific component. Okay, back to this question about properly releasing childhood traumas and abandonment. I often suppress those feelings versus properly releasing, and then they pop back up. Okay, so the way that we can start to work on that, and I've talked about this before, and I actually have a blog about it, is to suppress. Thank you for saying that, because that's what most of us do, is we suppress. We suppress, we push it down. Oh, that was a long time ago. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do, number one, is to honor. Thank you. You're so welcome. We need to honor ourselves and honor our feelings, okay? Just like we make time to go out with our girlfriends and have dinner with our girlfriends every couple weeks, we need to make time to have a date with ourselves. And we need to make a time to sit down and say, you know what? Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, I'm about to do some self-work. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write a letter to the person that abandoned me, the person that neglected me, the person that hurt me, and this is not necessarily something that needs to be communicated with this particular person. Sometimes these people aren't even alive anymore, but it's not about the actual communication. It's about giving yourself a space and acknowledging your feelings and expressing them and giving yourself a place to face them head on so that they don't keep repeating themselves. And I'm not saying this is going to be a frilly thing. This might be a cry session, where you actually go back chronologically and say, when I was 3 years old and my mother dropped me on the floor, that shit really hurt my fucking feelings. I can't believe she did that. What a horrible... And give yourself permission to get angry. Give yourself permission to be mad. Give yourself permission to curse people out. Because when we don't do that and we don't give ourselves permission to really process the way that we actually really feel without judging it, without saying, oh, well, that's not mature. I shouldn't be thinking like that. Fuck that. It is okay to say, motherfucker, you hurt me and that shit was fucked up. And that shit still hurts me right now as a 30-something-year-old fucking woman. I can't believe you did that shit. It's okay to do that. It is okay, because the thing is, if you don't let that out and you don't say that in the context and in the privacy of your own self-work, guess what? That energy is going to come out in your relationships. The gag is there is no such thing as suppressing. We think we're suppressing it, but we're not. It's still leaking out. It's still coming out towards other people in different ways, passive aggressively. So give yourself permission to go and face those things. Give yourself permission to go and say, you know what? I'm fucking pissed. I'm fucking hurt. That shit was fucked up. Give yourself permission to cry. I don't care if it's something that happened 5 years ago. Give yourself permission to go back there and let the shit out. Because if you don't let that out, it's going to come out sideways. So that for me, that has been life changing for me, to give myself permission, because, and that's one of the things, you know, it was always a daunting thing. Well, I don't want to dig that back up. I don't want to relive that. It's not about reliving it. It's about revisiting it. And you're revisiting it in a healthy, productive way that's going to allow you to let that shit go. Just like Jay-Z said, you can't heal what you don't reveal. You can't heal it. You know, start keeping a note on your phone. Start keeping something. You know what? This memory came up of this time where that made me feel really fucked up. I need to write a letter about that. I need to write a note about that. And you know what the beautiful thing about the universe and the beautiful thing about energy is when you communicate in that way and you're giving yourself space. You're so welcome. I love you so much. When you give yourself space and to communicate and really revisit, because the thing is, when you revisit it now at the age that you are now, yeah, you go through that. You give yourself time to process and go through the feelings, but then you can also, from the observer state, and say, you know what? Because there was a point, like I was writing my dad and I was like cursing him out. And then it got to a point after I had released that and allowed that to come out and allowed that to express. And then I was like, damn, I really feel sorry for you. You must have had a really fucked up life to treat me like that. You know, that release now starts to turn into compassion. That compassion then starts to turn in forgiveness. And I'm not saying it's going to happen immediately, instantaneously. This is years of work that I'm talking about. Okay? I suppressed the shit for a long time. Oh, I can't miss what I never had. You know, dumb shit like that we say. We got to be honest with ourselves. You know, I had to look at the type of relationships that I was attracting and the type of emotionally unavailable men that I was attracting, because that was my picture of what a man was. He wasn't fucking there. So even though I might have had a man physically there, he wasn't emotionally available. And that's because that's what my standard was. That's what I thought was normal for men's dynamic to be in my life. And it wasn't until I started to look at that and address that I started to attract something different. And it's still a work in progress. It's still a work in progress. How do I feel about the opposite effect? Expressing constantly. My mom revisits traumas, but it feels like it's still happening for her. So she's not revisiting. She's probably reliving and dwelling in it. And thank you for bringing that up, because there's a fine line. You know, what I'm talking about is a very strategic method. It's not about just bringing it up every day just to continue to be in the victim mode. It's about creating a space to release it. That's the intention, is to release, not to just, you know, bring it up over and over and over again, because now you're just creating more and more of it again for yourself. Yeah. So that's thank you for bringing that up, because that's an important note, that we are being intentional about the purpose on why we are revisiting it. I'm revisiting this with the intention to give myself the love, the respect, the honor, the nurturing, and the care to let this go, so that I don't have to keep repeating it and feeling that way and feeling bad about myself and feeling neglected and feeling abandoned. And again, the way that we also can deal with those feelings of neglect and abandonment and all those things is to start to not neglect our self-care. Start to meditate, start to look in the mirror, start to write love letters to yourself. Start to tell yourself something good about yourself every day, as much as you can throughout the day. You know, for example, right now, Megan, you know what? I'm so grateful that you got up and got on this live, even though you didn't feel like it. You really were able to help some people this morning and make an impact, and you're really able, and this is amazing. I'm so proud of you. You're such an amazing person. Stop putting yourself down. You do really good work, and you really help people in really major ways, Megan. Thank you for that. Thank you. I'm so happy that you have the resilience and the determination and the strength and the commitment to follow through and do the things that you say you're going to do. You know, that's an example. So speak to yourself in that way too. Start to acknowledge the good things that you do. Start to acknowledge the great things that you do instead of dwelling and getting caught up on the things that you're not doing or the things that the bad ways that you feel. Start to really make time and manually, because our mind is on autopilot. We have to manually go in there and take over. You know what? I'm choosing again. We're not doing this. I understand that this is what we've been doing up until this point, and this has felt like this has been a good thing, and this has felt like this has protected us, and this has kept us and kept us safe. But fuck this. I'm not doing this shit anymore. Now I'm in control. I am in control. You don't tell me what to do. I'm telling you what to do. Okay? I myself haven't been, hold on. I'll get to your comment in just a second. Yes, I need that with my mom. I have no patience with her, but now she's mentally ill and it's hard for me to let go. You need to start writing her letters now. Because you'll be amazed too at what people receive when you write them letters. Even though you haven't said one word to them, the universe has a way of taking that communication and delivering it to them in a way that they need to hear. We got to understand how everyone who's watching this, I want you to go and listen. There's a free audio book right on YouTube called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Thomas Murray. And it's fucking amazing. Or is it Murphy? One of those. Power of the Subconscious Mind. I myself haven't been loved for a long time, so when it comes my way, I opened up like a storm of emotion, which was too much for the other person. Okay. Yes, God. Yeah. So you know what? Loving yourself. Because guess what? When you love yourself genuinely, you invite other people to join you in that love for yourself. It's not about, I need you to love me. I need someone to love me. It's about, you know what? I love myself. I know that I'm an amazing person. I know that I have a lot to bring to the table. I know that I bless everything that I'm exposed to. I know that I have gifts to give. And if you are wise enough to recognize that in me the way that I've recognized that in me, then that means that you've done your work too. So we can be two whole people together instead of two half-broken people trying to make a whole. That never works. Thank you so much. Yes, God. Okay, so I'm going to end this video now because I don't want it to cut me off like it did last time. Last time it went ahead and did not let me save it, and I really want to save this content. So I love you all so much. Excuse me. If you're in need of products, there is a Valentine's Day sale going on right now for 20% off everything in the store. You can use code Valentine, so go ahead and stock up. Yes, God, and I will see you later. I hope you have an amazing day. Power of the Subconscious Mind, I think it's by Thomas Murray. I will screenshot it. I'll screenshot the YouTube and I will put it in my story, okay? And I'll actually even include a link to it because I can do that now. Joseph Murray, thank you. Thank you, Eugenia. Yes, God. I love you all. You're so welcome. Thank you so much for being here and giving me your attention and focus. From a universal and an energetic perspective, this means that this right here is you loving yourself. You taking time to learn about and inquire and be inquisitive about ways that you can change your internal state is a way that you love yourself. So you all can go and look in the mirror and say, you know what? Thank you. Thank you for not clicking off that live because you are doing something amazing for yourself. You're moving in the direction of changing your emotional state. You're moving in the direction of changing your life. And I appreciate you for that. Thank you, because you could have been doing anything else. So I love you. I care for you. You are enough. You have enough, and you are loved enough. Give yourself the things that you're looking for from other people. Okay? I will talk to you soon. I love you and have an amazing week.